Just imagine this for a second. If there is one area where Brazil isn't exactly known for excelling, it's scientific investment. Yeah, we know that. But what most people have no idea about is that, back in the 20th century, Brazil played a starring role in one of the largest scientific operations in human history, and it all revolved around a solar eclipse. Yep, you heard that right. In 1966, Brazil got deeply involved in a massive operation led by none other than NASA, the legendary Eclipse Project, and became a key player in a mission that launched 14 rockets straight from Brazilian soil. It was a full-on scientific spectacle that felt straight out of science fiction, but it was 100% real and proudly stamped, made in Brazil. Now picture this. You get the chance to study one of the most beautiful natural phenomena on Earth and collect a ton of valuable data. You wouldn't miss that opportunity, would you? Well, that's exactly what happened during the total solar eclipse on November 12, 1966, when the moon's shadow passed over South America, crossing Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and finally Brazil. But this wasn't just any eclipse. What made it truly special was that the moon's total shadow would fall right over one of the longest beaches in the world, Praia do Cassino, in the city of Rio Grande, in southern Brazil. More than 450 American scientists and technicians mobilized to make the eclipse project a reality, what would go on to become the largest eclipse-related scientific study in over 4,000 years of recorded history. It all started with NASA's push to develop sounding rockets, small-scale rockets, carrying instruments to measure high-altitude atmospheric phenomena. Most of these launches happened between 1966 and 1968, and luckily, Brazil didn't hesitate to lend a hand in several of those experiments. The Eclipse project focused on studying geomagnetism, the ionosphere, solar radiation, and photochemical processes observable at higher altitudes. In simple terms, they were trying to understand how Earth's atmosphere behaves during a total solar eclipse. At the time, alongside the 14 rockets, NASA also brought in ground-based radars, sensor-equipped aircraft, and cutting-edge tech. On that day, November 12, 1966, the total eclipse was scheduled to begin at 11:10 a.m. local time. The mayor of Rio Grande declared a local holiday and arranged buses to bring people from nearby cities to witness the event and the rocket launches. An estimated 100,000 people gathered near Praia do Cassino to witness this historic phenomenon. At the launch site, which offered perfect conditions, 19 rocket platforms were built, along with a complex electrical and communications network connecting all the ground stations. With help from Brazilian federal agencies like GTEPE, the executive group for the study and development of space projects, NASA shipped over 800 tons of equipment to build the necessary infrastructure on site. We also can't forget Brazil's own CNI, National Commission for Space Activities, which at the time was responsible for the country's space sector and played a vital role in the success of the mission. When the moon's shadow arrived, NASA triggered the rocket engines almost simultaneously, launching 14 rockets into the border between Earth's atmosphere and space. They used at least 5 different rocket models, although most were fairly similar. One of them was the Nike Apache, a sounding rocket designed to carry 36 kilograms of instruments to an altitude of 200 kilometers. Each cost about $6,000 at the time and stood about 33 feet tall with 2 stages. Other models included the Nike Hydac, Nike Javelin, and Nike Tomahawk, similar in build, but with varying payloads and altitude capabilities. While 19 platforms had been set up, only 14 were used. The other 5 stayed on standby, just in case. And if that wasn't impressive enough, there were jets involved too. Yep, some aircraft were modified specifically to take high-altitude measurements during the eclipse. The 2 models used? KC-135 and Convair 990. They carried experiments from at least 36 different scientific organizations, flying at an altitude of 10 kilometers, directly along the moon's shadow path. This allowed for more precise data collection and detailed analysis of Earth's ionosphere. Today, all that is left are memories from those who saw it unfold and some concrete rocket bases still visible at Praia do Cassino. The land is now owned by the Brazilian Army and sits right by the ocean. In the end, the Eclipse project became the most complex scientific data gathering mission ever carried out in South America. And many say we may never see anything like it again in this part of the world.
Take a look at these images and tell me, do you believe most people haven't been to this hidden paradise at Brazil's southernmost tip? Well, let me introduce you, Rio Grande. This is a city people didn't even know they were looking for until they discovered it. It's an ideal place to live, explore, work, and take photos unlike anyone else's while your friends are busy shooting in Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo. So stick around. You're about to learn everything you need to know about this unique city in a matter of minutes. Rio Grande, where history meets the sea water wave. Also known as the Bride of the Sea, Rio Grande was founded in 1737 and sits about 200 miles southwest of Porto Alegre. With its Portuguese colonial architecture, it holds the title of the oldest city in the state. With more than 210,000 residents, it's the 11th largest city in Rio Grande do Sul, and locals are called Rio Grandinos. But many affectionately refer to its people as Sand Eaters because of the sandy landscape. You might not have heard of the city, but you've probably heard of its port, a key reason the place thrives. The port of Rio Grande is the main shipping gateway for the state. Because ships are constantly coming and going, the city also developed a major shipyard for maintenance and repairs. In the end, Rio Grande is truly built around the port. Trucks roll through the streets nonstop, transporting goods, especially toward the southernmost regions of Brazil. More than just a port. Complementing its maritime industry, the city is also home to the Rio Grandense oil refinery, a Petrobras terminal, and sectors like agriculture, fishing, and commerce. And thanks to countless hours of marine research by the Federal University of Rio Grande, FURG, the city has become a hub for oceanography and marine biology. But it's surprisingly relaxed. Despite all this industrial activity, Rio Grande is peaceful, welcoming, and has a mild climate with stunning beaches. It's especially well known for its seafood cuisine. Think fried fish, shrimp, and shellfish, and classic gaucho-style barbecue. Not to mention the local drink, Jurupiga, a cultural icon. And where do they really enjoy this local fare? At the Rio Grande Carnival, one of the most iconic festivals in southern Brazil. Highlights you can't miss. Moles de Bar breakwaters. These are two massive stone piers that stretch 4 kilometers into the sea, considered one of the world's greatest coastal engineering feats. One is in Rio Grande, the other in São José do Norte. They're great for port activity, but also a favorite for tourists. You can even take a ride on traditional sail-powered carts. Tame Ecological Station, a vast 34,000-hectare protected area, 30% in Rio Grande, the rest in Santa Vitória do Palmar. It's a natural sanctuary with fields, lagoons, marshes, beaches, dunes, and it also serves as a nursery for migratory birds coming from all over the world. Ilha dos Marinheiros, the state's largest inland island, offering calm waters, Portuguese-style ruins, crystal-clear lagoons, and dunes, a place of faith and tranquility. Praia do Cassino. Not only is it the oldest resort in Brazil, but it's also the longest beach in the world. Paired with Hermenegildo Beach, it stretches nearly 250 kilometers. Local joke over who owns most of that, and while the Guinness Book names Praia do Cassino, the debate still rages on. Altair shipwreck. The remains of this cargo ship, beached during a 1976 storm, are still visible in the sand. It's surreal and totally Instagram-worthy. More local gems. Praça Tamandaré, final resting place of General Bento Gonçalves, hero of the Ragamuffin War. Esporte Clube Rio Grande, Brazil's oldest football club, founded on July 19, 1900. Old Port, operational since 1772, now home to the Port and Nautical Museums. Oceanographic Museum, Boasts 45,000 shell specimens, the most extensive in South America. Historic Center, a cultural treasure featuring the public market, docks, the old Army headquarters, Sao Pedro Cathedral, built in 1755, Nossa Senhora do Carmo Church, the City Museum, Ria Grandin's Library, the 19th century Belvedere with Portuguese tiles, the Old Customs House, built in 1804 by order Dom Pedro II, Xavier Ferreira Square, the Naval Corvette Museum, Antarctic Museum, Palvor Island Eco Museum, Historic Farm Museum, Municipal Phototeca, Sarita Lighthouse, Kapila Community, the 1785 Chapel of Our Lady of Conception, and even mystical Lagoa Miram near the Tame Reserve. The local vibe. People congregate around Casino Avenue and the boardwalk, chatting, sipping chimarrão, flirting, the whole deal. And Rio Grandinos are easygoing, friendly. In short, Rio Grande is a port city with soul, blending history, nature, and laid-back vibes, all in one place. Worth discovering.